Um, we have all three commissioners here present. Traditionally, we begin our meetings with an invocation and a pledge. We allow the audience to participate in this if they would want to. If they don't, then somebody up here at this table will. So do we have any volunteers for the invocation today? Okay, Blaine, would you like to do that? Appreciate it.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity we have to be here together as county leaders and to discuss the needs of our county and the needs of the citizens. And we ask you to please be with us and help us to have thy spirit and to have peace and to listen and to know what thou would have us do to better the lives of the people in this area. We're so thankful for the opportunity we have to live in this area and for the blessings it provides for us and the opportunities that it provides for us. We are so thankful for the moisture that thou hast blessed us with and the good that it will do our land and is doing our land and our crops and our reservoirs and our attitudes. And we are so thankful for all that thou hast done for us and ask you to please be with us in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you, Blaine. We'll stand and say the pledge. I think Commissioner Stubbs will lead us in that.
Okay. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next on our agenda is public comment. I'll turn the time over to Mac to monitor the public comment.
Okay. Each of you, I don't see a sign-up sheet today, so if you're wanting to make a public comment, you're going to have to raise your hand. Public comments will be allowed 3 minutes apiece for each individual. Please try to avoid repetition in your public comments. Once the commissioners hear you, they've heard you. Please keep your comments positive. In that light, also acknowledge that, Commissioner, it's not a debate or a deliberation between you and the commissioners. It's the commissioner's opportunity to hear from you as the public. And so with that, we only have 2 people online. We'll get to the people online second, but is there anyone here in the audience wishing to make a public comment? Okay, we've got the mayor. Welcome, Mayor. You're the only one so far.
Do I get all the minutes?
Totally. No.
Good morning, commissioners. It's nice to be able to appear in person. I'm here to speak to number 17 on the agenda, which is the Building Resilient Inclusive Communities grant that's sent out by Public Health. I'd like to really thank Public Health of San Juan County because they've been amazingly supportive over the last 3-4 years for us, in particular in Bluff with our special needs based upon the Navajo Nation's proximity to us. This grant, which is referred to as the BRIC grant, provides support to our food pantry. And just to be clear, the Bluff Food Pantry is a standalone. It isn't a part of the Town of Bluff official activities. As the mayor, I administer the grant that passes through our funding from San Juan Public Health. That grant has been used to support the food services that are provided to the extended Bluff community. For example, in December, Ginny Burns, who is the person running the food pantry, they served 424 people in December, and in January, 433 people. The grant doesn't provide for food. That food comes from the Utah Food Department. It provides the support. So for instance, one year the grant provided a refrigerator. In the past, we've had to turn the food back if it has to be refrigerated. So now there's refrigeration. It provides Ginny Burns with funds to make purchases like crock pots, baking sheets, utensils, so that people can utilize the food that we distribute. And I say we because I'm on the informal food pantry board. I'm not very active, but I am on the board, and I administer the funds, which I know are really well used, very appreciative. And having a local public health department that knows the specific needs of a community is so crucial. So thank you to Dr. Sonata and Rebecca Benali, who've been so instrumental. And of course to Ginny Burns and all the other volunteers. And I would ask that you fund this grant. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Anyone else wishing to make a public comment? Not seeing any. Anyone on the line wishing to make a public comment? If so, you can unmute yourself. Go ahead, Sean. I see that you're unmuted. Go ahead and state your name and the location that you are within the county.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sean Begay, located down in Montezuma Creek right now. Employed with Montezuma Creek Community Clinic as a public health person here. I just wanted to offer my support to San Juan Public Health and all the good work that they're doing here in the community. During the time of COVID and everything was kind of like turned upside down, but through good collaboration between our organization and theirs, we did, the best we could, as far as like helping out our patients and the residents of San Juan County. Good data, with the San Juan Public Health being shared, to members of the community, let us know how it was going in the county as far as like COVID goes and everything. Outlook, like different projects that they got going on, like in collaboration with us, like we feel like we're in a good place. And I just wanted to say, like as far as like we go, with UNHS, San Juan Public Health is offering some good services to the residents of San Juan County. But those are my comments.
Thanks, Sean. Anyone else wanting to make a public comment online? Monet, I see that you're unmuted.
Right. Can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Well, good morning, commissioners. My name's Monette Clark, and I live in Spanish Valley. I haven't been able to attend the January meetings, but I'm here today, and I just want to introduce myself. I really appreciate your service and all the things that are required of commissioners to do. I went to the work meeting you just had, and the land use training was great. I just want to say that land use is really a big thing here in Spanish Valley. And there are a lot of people that are watching the development of the new zoning code that the Planning Commission is working on, and also the zoning, map. So that's something that is a really important as far as the ordinance, because as the man just said, the ordinance governs the approval process of permits. So anyway, the other thing I want to say is I'm really glad to see the agenda today has a lot of items for board appointments to different boards in the county. And these are 4-year terms that are really important. I'm glad to see that the appointments have been moved off the consent portion of the agenda and onto the business action section, where it's a lot easier for commissioners to consider these appointments more carefully. And so I appreciate the administrator has made that decision or to do that. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's see, anyone else wishing to make a public comment? Okay, commissioners, that looks like your public comment period for today.
Okay, next on our agenda is the consent agenda. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. We have minutes from our January 17th meeting, minutes from our check register from January 14th. We have some items to be purchased by the road department on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will do a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion by Sylvia. Do we have the second? Second by Jamie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, also is 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Next is our recognition and presentations. First of all, we have the San Juan County Conservation District update by Blaine Nebaker. If you'll just come up to the mic here on the Rammy-umptum. Oh, we have,
I'm not Blaine Nebaker, but
I can see
Blaine
that.
Blaine is now the vice chair, and somebody had the idea to appoint me the chair, so I'm here in his place, even though he's here.
So do you want to give your name? So just-
Cody Nilsson.
Thanks.
Here, let me give you a letter real quick. If I can. Just kind of explains a little more in depth who we are and what we do. So the San Juan County Conservation District, the legalese part is a conservation district is a political subdivision of the state of Utah. Utah state legislature has given conservation districts the charge and the caring for the natural resources throughout the state of Utah. So we meet on the first or the second Tuesday of every month here in the courthouse in the room just down the hall. I don't know what they call that room, the little boardroom, conference room. And we'd love to invite you. We do post our meetings, and so if anything changes, you can find them there. But we're there the first or the second Tuesday at 8 o'clock. So real quick, we also have a newsletter. I don't have one for everybody, but we just started this, and it gives a pretty good outline of everything we do throughout the county. We work with different partners from Forest Service, State Forestry, NRCS, to work on basically the education and implementation of sustainable conservation in San Juan County. A couple of the projects that we have going on is we've been the financial facilitator along with water quality and the GIP program for some of the Gold King spill money that was given to the state of Utah, and we've overseen the drilling of several wells, over $600,000 worth of wells in the county. So we have lots of projects going on, and we try to do anything we can to just help conservation hit the ground in the county. We own several pieces of equipment that we rent to farmers and ranchers to help them on their ranch, and we hope to grow our equipment list in the future. Our board members consist of me, Cody Nilsson, Blaine Nebaker is our vice chair, Bob Berry is a supervisor on our committee, and Charlie Tracy and Karen Nay. I think we have one of the best boards out there. It's my favorite board that I sit on, and we'd love to see you to our meeting, and anything we can do to further conservation in the county, please reach out to us. Thanks.
Thanks. Good report. Next, we have a presentation by Lisbon Valley Mine. George, you gonna do it, or are you gonna let Allie? Okay.
You're like, thanks.
Do you need a stool, Allie?
I
You
do
okay?
need a stool.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bruce. That's very, very nice. So I brought handouts, may I?
I've got it on there as well if you want. So either one.
If you don't mind.
Yep. Do you want me to pass them out? Here, I'll pass them out. You go ahead.
So, as George stated, my name is Allison Tarrant. I'm the environmental manager for Lisbon Valley Mining Company. Basically, we wanted to introduce ourselves to the new commissioners. I'm very happy to meet you and see you, and also to extend an open invitation for you to come to site and have a more detailed tour of what is in the county pertaining to the copper production. Basically, I just wanted to give you a really high-level overview of the project itself. We are an open-pit copper mine. We have been in operation since 2009, I believe. 2006. And in that time, we have definitely had our ups and downs, but are very appreciative of the support that the commission and the county in general has showed to us. and we are excited to present to you our up and coming project and expansion opportunities within the Lisbon Valley and Lower Lisbon Valley area. Just to give you a brief recap of what we are and who we are and how many employees we have. As I stated, we are an open pit copper mine. We mine the copper by open pit mining methods, and then we leach it all on site. So it's completely enclosed within our area. We are considered a zero discharge site, which means we don't have anything leave the site other than the copper cathode itself. It's a pretty awesome, clean environment to work in. Currently, we have approximately 100 employees. We are expecting to expand in the next couple years to 200 employees. The average hourly income is approximately $60,000 for the hourly employees, and then the salaried employees, which include supervisors, high-level mechanics, and office personnel. The average salary for that is approximately $85,000 per annum. So it's a pretty good income. It's a good revenue source for the county, and we are very excited again to expand our operations. In the next 20 years, we are expected to reach our life of mine, and that is a culmination of a production of 620 million pounds of copper. So again, pretty excited, pretty exciting for the county and the state of Utah as a whole. To date, basically from 2009 to 2018, we have generated $230 million in economic activities in the state of Utah. Again, very exciting for the county that we are in, and we expect that expansion will increase dramatically our economic activities, not only for our locals, but also for the state as a whole. So, again, just really excited to meet you, and I hope that you will accept our invitation to come to site and allow us to give a more detailed presentation and meet the rest of our team. So thank you.
Thank you.
George, why don't you come up and introduce yourself to these new commissioners so that they'll be able to put a face to a name?
Absolutely. Let the star of the show, Allie, present. But George Shaw, CEO, Lisbon Valley Mine. I've been involved with the project since 2009. The project's been in operation since 2006. And we've gotten down the road in part, as Allie mentioned, with excellent support from the county, which we really appreciate, as to speaking on behalf of all of our employees and vendors. We have over 200 vendors, all local and state domiciled, almost all of them supporting 24/7 operations. So the mine's working around the clock. And what we're excited about is expanding the operation. We've had a lot of success growing the resource base, which Ali just mentioned, which is good economically, and it's also, copper is a key metal for energy transition, both domestically here in the United States and around the world. The world is predicted to go into physical deficit for copper over the next 5 to 10 years. So this is a key asset, both from an economic standpoint, but strategically, it's a key metal for the country. And we've got strong support among our regulatory partners we work closely with, as well as other political officials in the state. So
George, you're looking to double your employment base.
That's correct. It takes time to.
Yeah.
We're making the investments as we speak, and we do that in parallel
Those will just
with
be
expansion.
truck drivers, drillers, everything.
Yeah, it's exactly. So all kinds of operations, maintenance. We maintain all of our own equipment. Those are very competitive jobs in this particular labor market. High-paying jobs, but exactly that's right. And technical staff as well, because of the scale of the operations increasing. And as I mentioned, it's 24/7. So there's skilled personnel and supervision at site around the clock every day of the year. So that's the sort of
I
employment.
know there's people from Monticello that are employed out there. You don't discriminate against people from Blanding, do you?
We are a merit-based operation, strictly merit-based.
I know you're very inclusive of the whole county. I'm just trying to be funny.
I'm on the record, so don't want to be misconstrued in any way.
Jamie, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Sylvia?
I just thank you for coming and we'll come and visit.
We'd appreciate that.
I know one of the things that as we're growing, we had to think is affordable housing, and that's one thing that as people make good salaries, they want to buy homes, but the homes, for some reason, are very, very expensive right now. Lots of people cannot afford homes.
Yeah, we
Would
heard
like
a
to
little
have-
bit about that when we walked into the prior meeting, and I'm not sure what the county's zoning and plans of that
Yeah.
nature are, but I think that's worthy of consideration by the county.
Yeah.
Housing, it's something that we encounter. We make as many arrangements and
Yeah.
accommodations as we can, but as we attract more employees, that's something that when they come to relocate and they do want to be in the county, is the affordability and availability of housing. So I think that's absolutely something that we would happy to comment on or collaborate if that's at all
Thank you.
helpful. And you'll get appreciation for that when you come to site and meet the employees who are.
Well, I know both of the new commissioners have expressed to me a desire to come out and do a on-site visit. And so
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, right now, we're kind of going up the legislature every week.
Sure.
And when that gets done, maybe in March or April, we can make a visit
That
out
would be
there.
perfect. You're welcome anytime.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very
Thanks to
much.
you and Ellie.
Thanks, George. Good job, Ally.
Okay. Number 6 on our agenda is a public hearing.
Correct. We've got to enter into a public hearing for the 2023 budget changes.
Okay. So do I have a motion to enter into a public hearing for the purpose of budget adjustments?
Do you want me- I'll do a motion that we go into a public.
Yeah, public hearing.
Public.
Okay, Jamie, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now in public hearing to receive comment. Do you want to first do the sheriff department?
Yeah, let's first
Item.
do this one.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'll go through briefly kind of explain this. As we went through the wage comparisons and the adjustments last year and for the beginning of this year, one of the things that fell away is the commitments for specific positions. And in the sheriff's office, for that department itself, they have specific positions that employees, deputies can apply for, and then once they're awarded that, they typically get a 2% increase for kind of overseeing that specific position. And so the positions on here that are specific to the sheriff's office that has this 2% is the corrections and patrol corporals. So just that corporal level. So if you're elevated to the corporate level, then you get that 2%. Similar with the search and rescue supervisors, they get a 2%. Task force commander, 2%, and the drug court coordinator, 2%. On this is kind of an appointment. They're assigned it is reviewed every 2 years. We do have in here also a promotion agreement. It's kind of an appointment where they acknowledge that they will accept this 2%, but if it's taken away, say, for example, we had a task force commander, this kind of region based, and if they're no longer the task force commander, then they would lose that 2%. So this form acknowledges that this isn't a permanent 2%, that if they lose that position, go back from the task force commander to a regular deputy, then they lose that 2% incentive. And so it's kind of an opportunity for our sheriff department in those specific positions to get a little bit more for the responsibilities. Overseeing search and rescue, I mean, that's a pretty big responsibility, and coordinating all those efforts instead of just giving an outright pay increase, we have it pegged at that 2% increase for those 2 years.
So this is by appointment, and it's not a
Correct.
competition.
No,
Okay.
no, they can apply for the position. Typically, they're appointed. They've got people that have risen up the ranks that
Okay.
they would
Not
set into these.
appointed within the department.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. So with that, we can turn to the public if they have
Anybody want
any.
to make a comment about this item? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next one.
I've got Brittany also raising
Oh,
her.
Brittany is, yeah, we need to recognize Brittany She has her hand up.
Sorry,
and-
I'm online today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We should have recognized you, Brittany.
That's okay. I'm wondering, is there a list of what positions are? Is it just the positions that are up top?
Correct. Right there, we have it
Okay.
spelled out right there. The corrections and patrol corporals, search and rescue supervisor, task force commander, and the drug court coordinator. Those are the positions.
Okay, the only concern that I have is the corrections and patrol corporals, only in the sense that I need to look closer at the merit-based system for officers. There's an actual code that has it. And then I don't know if we've ever adopted policies for that if we follow the merit-based system.
Where we're underemployed, we're under the merit requirement of 200 employees. So we fall
No,
under.
It's so
But
it's not the county employee one. It's the other one. It's
Officers.
Yeah, there's one for sheriff, excuse me. One for sheriff.
Okay, yeah, we're not tracking that one. We could take a look at it. We could table this item and then look at it closer. This was pushed to us by the sheriff and undersheriff.
Yeah, we've always given Brittany an opportunity to
Yeah, heck yeah.
look at any of these kind of things, so we may want to do that. So, thanks for those comments, Brittany. We'll probably act on this item when we come out of public hearing. Do you want to go on to the payroll and budget adjustments?
Absolutely. So on our payroll, at the end of the year, as you finalized your budget in 2022, late December, we had mentioned and indicated to the public that we would probably give increases, estimated amount to be around $1.7 million. As you look through here, our total adjustments that we're making to our budget this go around is 1.8, so just over $1.8 million. The majority of these are increases. We've gone through each department and added those. Just as a reminder, the funds that we're pulling to make these adjustments are the LATCF revenue funds. We'd received that last year as well. On the adjustments, we have some ARPA revenues that can also be used to the increases, specifically more towards public health, where ARPA funds were really related to combating COVID or the effects of COVID. And so we've used those respective amounts as indicated in the revenue sources there. Kind of, and I won't go through each of these adjustments, but through Fund 10, you kind of see those adjustments that go throughout. There's some additional adjustments in here as you, in addition to the salary, wages, FICA, retirement benefits adjustments. When you get down to non-departmental, we've increased that budget in miscellaneous services, and this is miscellaneous contract services that we usually go out and contract with, that really we don't attribute to any one department itself. We have $100,000 that's already in this fund for our general plan. As we go through this next year, and we'll update our general plan. I've also added $50,000 coming from the ARPA fund to help us with our GIS services. We've got to contract some of our GIS services. When we look at our zoning ordinances this next year, we also have to have a map with that, and this GIS services is to add the map. So as we go through and when we have these online or stakeholder events throughout the county, we want to have the appropriate maps that are there. This will contract the services out so that we can get a service provider that will come in here and help us with our Esri system, GIS related, and also in addition to this, is helping get to the point where we were supposed to be with our recorder's office and having all of our properties available for public view and that recording process as well. And so that 50,000 will be used for that. In information technologies, I've increased a couple line items in there as well for our IT. We've got a subscription, and in addition to the original budget request, we've got $2,400 increase in subscription. This is to allow, as we contracted with that outside vendor to assist us with our information systems, there's a specific program that'll allow us to kind of remote into specific computers, especially for employees as they have issues, compatibility issues, loading certain things. We can remote into those computers throughout the whole entire the county. And so this specific subscription fixes that and allows for that technology to be installed, but also in it is a password program where we can kind of centralize all the passwords of the county into one system to prevent some issues and problems there. The equipment, we've also added $51,318,000 on here for specific for servers. As we've met with this company, they've come down and evaluated our systems with the ransomware, and we feel that that ransomware system is still on our computer and our server. We need to, in essence, kind of have a backup server that we can transfer all of our files, our archived files, over onto a system, clean it, and then use this other server. So it kind of gives us redundancy as well on our server systems. Right now, with our servers, we have one. If that one goes down, we lose a lot of information, historic information. And so it's critical that we have some redundancy. This is a quote that we received from Dell Computers. Dell Computers is a contracted entity through the state of Utah. That was the amount that they gave us. And so this will allow us to purchase that equipment. When you get down and you switch to our fund, our next fund on here is our B Road funds. The total of revenue that we're pulling out of these other funds isn't attributed to the road department. The road department has excess funds already in savings, and so from those excess funds that transfer, we will be transferring the $413,573 out from other funds that are capital funds to feed the road department increases, and so that's reflected in their accounts. The only other adjustments were the salaries and wages under the road maintenance, as well as the snow removal this year, and they have been stellar. Hats off to our road department for everything that they do, but they do incur snow removal costs, and we track that kind of separately as well. Under our public health department, as you look under this, we had transferred that $119,141 over to our health department. A couple of weeks ago, we learned that we had learned that we were underfunding the health department for the last couple of years. Last year, I believe it was somewhere around $5,000 that we underfunded. And then this year, we underfunded to the tune of I think it was around 113,000, if I remember right. So $113,741. And so we had to make up that adjustment. And here's the have to. The state, this is a state minimum standards that's required of counties, that is the state puts in a certain amount of money, counties are supposed to match that. Unfortunately, here in this county, the tax that's attributed to Fund 25 and it's supposed to generate its own revenue under that tax is also shared with San Juan Counseling. And so San Juan Counseling for the last couple of years has taken, probably for a lot longer than the last couple of years, has taken the bulk of the tax to support San Juan Counseling. And so this last year, to the tune of, I believe it was $97,334 of $150,000 estimated tax. And so that 150,000 with 97,000 taken out of it means that general fund has to continue to prop up our public health department through that because of the state minimum standards. It was interesting, where last year we were around that $5,000 in deficit for the state minimum standards. There was also a lower amount that the state was giving. And so this last year, the state also bumped their amount that they're contributing to counties. So that originally they had about 2.1 million going to the health districts throughout the state. They bumped that 2.1 million up to 6.13 million. So in essence, it's good that the state is contributing more, but it also means that the county, by mandate, you also have to contribute more. So a couple weeks ago, we had to go to the appropriation committee and pretty much explain why we haven't contributed our fair share and local match. And so this is to bring that into compliance so that we don't lose any additional funds in the future. And commissioners, this is one of the things that's important for you to recognize is we are now with this requirement taking more out of general fund. And so at some point in time, we're going to have to go through kind of the goals of the health department, what your expectations are of the health department, as well as the contracts that the health department that we're entering into as the health department, because we want to make sure that this glass slipper really fits San Juan County, that we're not just taking on contracts and grants that we may not need, that's increasing the amount that the state is giving us and the amount we have to contribute. We've got to be fair with our actions here in the county. And Grant's done a good job trying to figure that out as he's new to the county. And, just over that year mark, he's trying to figure out, okay, county, what is it that we need? So there's still some opportunities, discussions that we have to have with you, but know that this is going to be taking a little bit more out of your general fund, which is pretty much already struggling as it is. But that will be for a later date. Right now, ARPA allows us to use those funds for public health services. And so because of that, you have that $119,141 contribution to that to make them whole. We will be able to continue to commit ARPA funds for this year into next year as well. So we're safe for a couple of years, but know that that's on the radar, and we'll bring Grant and his team back in to kind of strategize in a work session meeting. And Jamie, totally. Yes, but we definitely got to figure something out there. Landfill, they too, they're able to cover their own expenses in the landfill itself. We do have to contribute a significant amount to the library for theirs. There too is a tax that is barely able to make it. With these increases, they will no longer be able to make it within their tax. So you're looking at a library tax being funded out of revenue from general fund as well. So doesn't look good for the future. Right now, we're able to cover these, and especially as we continue to use these other funds that are stuck away in our piggy bank, we can continue to make things float and continue to afford to operate here as the county, but know that there's some decisions down the line that as these funds run out, that we will have to address at a later date. Those are the changes on here, simple as they may be, or difficult and long-winded as I am.
Thanks, Mac. We want to give the public an opportunity to comment on the things that he's presented to you about our budget. Is there anybody would like to make a public comment, either in the audience or online? Okay, I don't see any comment. Do we have a motion to come out of our public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie makes a motion, second by
I will second it.
Sylvia. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, so that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. We are now out of our public hearing, and I guess we'll move forward with those two items with the staff. Number 8 is consideration and approval of 2023 Community Service Block Grant Contract. Tammy?
Hold on, sorry. Before we get to that, we've got to make a motion to the changes on here. Sorry about that. I was thinking that you said that, and then I translated what you told me.
Okay,
So on here we've
so
got
we'll go back to
Yes.
items 6 and 7.
correct.
Do we have a motion to approve the changes that were explained in the public comment?
Yes, I make that motion.
Okay, Jamie makes a motion,
No second it.
second by Sylvia. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed.
With that one, we did have Brittany mention that there may be some concerns. I'll follow those up
Okay,
with that, knowing that we still have this approval of the 2%. If there's adjustments that need to be made, then
Okay.
we'll bring those
Bring
back
them
to you
back,
so that
okay.
you know that.
okay, Tammy, you're up.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good.
Oh, sorry, Tammy.
Yes.
The second one, I need an approval for the final adjustments to these budget changes as well on item number 7. Sorry. And it's down here by resolution. Lyman has
Okay.
it tucked all the way down here, right
I
here.
thought we'd already voted on that, but we can do it again.
No, we did the first one, item 6. Now I need to vote on number 7.
Okay, payroll budget adjustments. Do we have a motion to approve the payroll budget adjustment for 2023?
I'll make a motion that we
Approve.
approve the payroll adjustment.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed.
Awesome. We
Okay, now I think we can move to Tammy.
Tammy.
Good morning again.
Sorry, Tammy.
It's okay. So I have for you today the approval of the 2023 Community Service Block Grant Contract. This is a contract that we have with Southeastern Utah Association of Local Governments. And the contract allows us to provide meals to residents in the county that are not 60, so they're not eligible for home delivered meals. But with this program, they can get those meals. They have to be low income and have to be access and functional needs. And there's a means test that they do to make sure that they qualify. So this is just a renewal of that contract. And we get $18,395 a year from them for this contract. And it just helps supplement taking
Is that
care of those
spread over
people.
the senior centers?
Yes. So what happens is if a senior center knows of somebody within that community, they refer that person. We send their application up to Southeastern. They either get approved or denied. If they're approved, then we put them on the program.
That's the image that you're looking at your screen, I believe, is the distribution.
Yep,
on
that
this.
that would be the distribution. We do have some in Monticello. We have some in Blanding, Bluff, and LaSalle at all 4 of our centers.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make that motion.
Motion by Jamie,
I'll second it.
second by Sylvia. Further discussion?
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think this is a wonderful program. As I get acquainted with everything that we do in the county, to all the departments, it's amazing how much service is rendered to people, especially right now where, we go to grocery shopping and we do window shopping because we cannot afford the prices, and I'm glad for this. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So, Sylvia, I'm going to make a bold statement. We have the best aging director in the state of Utah, right here in San Juan County.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that for me. I hear that all of the time,
Thank you.
all over the state. So I'm
Thank you.
sure it's a
Thank you.
And
fact.
sometimes, we go through doing the job, and sometimes people don't, we're too busy to think. people. So I thank you and all the people that serve our county.
Thank you very much. That
Thank
means a lot.
you.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, do we have a motion and a second? I don't think we voted on it yet, so all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, so that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. It's been approved, Tammy.
Thank you.
Now, what else you got?
That's all I've got for you today. I'll have more coming in a couple months. It's about contract time. So thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thanks,
All right.
Tammy.
Okay, number 9, consider an approval of GIS planning license agreement. Elaine, I think you've got a couple here.
I
Go ahead.
agree. Good morning. It's good to see you. Thank you for this time. The first one is a GIS planning license that we sign annually. And what this does, this provides information to our on the economic development part of the website for people that might be looking to come to San Juan County and want to research just different demographics, salary, poverty level, everything. We kind of help, that helps them to research that information. So it's very helpful, and I think we should continue it. So we have that contract. Do you want me to run through these 3 contracts?
Yeah, let's vote on that one
Okay.
first, Elaine.
And the total of that is $3,000, and that is included in our budget for economic development and visitor services.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the planning license agreement, GIS?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Jamie makes a motion,
And I'll second it.
second by Sylvia. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, Elaine, number 10.
Number 10 is our contract with Go Travel Sites, and they actually host our website. There are actually 2 separate contracts, one for the hosting and then one for leads that we receive from Go Travel Sites. And the leads actually are where people request travel planners to be sent to them. We still send out thousands of travel planners. It's just we're hoping to go more digital, but we send them all around the world. So we're excited that we still get leads from Go Travel Sites, but this company's been really great to work with. I never worked with them before, and I've been really pleased with their service. And they're actually working on a trails content site that we're increasing all of our content on the website. So this would be 2 separate contracts, one for $5,000, and this one is for, let's see here. Where's the?
Is it right there on your staff report?
I think it's
30,000 and
yes,
about
30.
25,000,
Yes,
And
those.
then the 55,000.
Yes, for the total for the year.
Yep.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the Go Travel Sites host agreement?
I make a motion that we approve the website. You say I can't read.
The Go Travel.
Hosting elite, I don't know which one.
Yeah, it's the Go Travel.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go Travel Site Manager.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Jamie seconds. Further comment?
I want to make a comment.
Yeah. Okay,
I
go
got
ahead.
this information from you or from the news. This is all the places of the world that people like to visit or visiting. Murray Valley. I mean,
Yeah, was number 3 on the New York Times list.
and
Yeah.
so we need this letter
Yes.
to go out.
Yeah, we're actually doing a press release that we're sending out all over to all the newspapers everywhere, and we posted it. We do get comments from people that say, "Oh, it's in Arizona," but if you're in Utah, you've got to take the road from Utah to get down to Monument Valley.
Yeah,
So,
which is,
yeah, oh yes. So I mean, for the New York Times to make
oh, yeah.
it number 3,
And it wasn't just our nation, this is
the world,
the
yeah.
world.
So we're expecting. We have a lot of positive things happening next year. Goldings is their 100th year anniversary. We're working. I mean, there's a lot of exciting things happening. We have the eclipse that's going to be happening in San Juan County. We could expect, for that up to 10,000 plus people to come in here, visitors. So having that as something that came out earlier this year, we're really excited about it. As soon as the press release goes out, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
So we have a motion to approve the Go Travel side agreement and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. You got approval there.
Awesome.
Okay, number 11.
This is our marketing company of record, and they do all of our design work. Since we don't have an in-house designer, one day I hope we have enough budget to do that, to afford that. But right now, we have to use a company. And again, they've been wonderful to work with. And this contract will cover us for the entire year. So we don't have to continue to bring each and every invoice. So we worked out a program with them. And just to let you know, I'm trying to save some money because we're using the same marketing tagline about Mother Nature. Prior to my coming on board, every year there was a change in the marketing tagline, which meant everything had to be redone. We don't want to do that. We need to really stick to a message. We might massage that message a little bit every year, but we don't want to keep changing. Then we lose our identity. So we have to continue to market with that same messaging. So this will cover the full year, and they actually do a lot. They do our content SEO, paid search, newsletters, the press release. So they do kind of all of that we don't do in-house. And when you have time, we'll come down and explain exactly what we do in-house. But they've been very nimble to work with us no matter what it is we recommend or request. And so this would be for the full year contract of $179,500, and this is covered by the grant funding that we receive from the Utah Office of Tourism, the TMPF grant, which I will be applying for again this year. So,
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the Relic contract marketing agreement?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Jamie, a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Sylvia. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed.
thank you.
And just a statement, we have the best economic development and visitor service director in the state.
Oh my gosh.
And I've heard that from more than just me.
Now I have to work harder. Thank you.
I love talking to her. We can get in trouble.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
you know,
The
with
two of us could
ideas.
get in big trouble if we're left alone. So we have to have someone to check on us. All right.
Totally.
Thank you for your support. The resolution that you passed at the last meeting for economic development is, I am still thrilled about that. I just posted on LinkedIn. I have like 2,000 contacts that we're open for business. So I did that about half an hour ago. We've got 87 people from, around the country that have responded already. So, and I mean to go after everything that we possibly can to help bring things better, make things better for our residents in San Juan County. So thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Elaine.
you.
Okay, Scott Burton, I think you have 4 items of subdivision approval, I believe.
Yeah, so the first one, we've got item 12, the Peaceful Valley Ranch subdivision. This is located kind of, northeast of Old LaSalle along County Road. It's the County Road 125, the Buckeye Road. Yeah, this, as we talked about today, this went through the Planning Commission. Preliminary plat was reviewed November 10th, and then the final plat was reviewed and is being recommended by the Planning Commission to you. That was done at their January 12th meeting. So if you have any questions about that, the developer is here too. If you had any questions for him, the property owner as well. So
Oh, you're right. I'm looking.
yeah.
This isn't a Kevin Costner subdivision, is it?
No.
I know he's filming up in that area, so I did.
Yeah, they have been filming up in the LaSalle's, but
Okay. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the Peaceful Valley Ranch subdivision?
I'll make a motion to approve the peaceful, I can't see the name. Peaceful
Valley.
Valley subdivision.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. Further discussion?
No.
Okay, you faked me out. I thought you were. All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Okay, that's approved. Let's go on to the next one.
Yep, item 13 is the consideration approval of the Jensen subdivision. This plat, this subdivision is located south of Monticello along the highway. This is about 130 acres. So there's going to be 7 lots. They're all about 5 acres in size. I think they're exactly 5 acres. And then there's also some property marked for future phases potentially. This preliminary plat was reviewed in December with the Planning Commission, and the final plat was reviewed and is being recommended. They did that at their January 12th meeting as well. So
These lots all have highway frontage then?
they don't have highway frontage. No,
Okay.
as shown on the plat, there's a road easement that they've got marked out for that, and those roads are in place. They're just being marked for that to
Okay.
access this. So.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the Jensen subdivision?
Make a motion to approve the Jensen subdivision.
Second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. And Scott, I'm sure these have been through Planning Commission and all of the,
Yeah, they
Okay.
were reviewed by staff
Okay.
and reviewed by Planning Commission twice. So, 2
all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. So that one is 3 in favor, 0 against. Number 14, Scott.
Okay, number 14 is the Sturgeon subdivision. The subdivision is located along Sturgeon Road, which is County Road 320, which is out off. It's the corner of the Peter Springs Road and the Sturgeon Road. All of these lots front the Sturgeon Road, County Road 320. The only thing that I've just noticed, there wasn't any changes to the plat, but this plat that's on your agenda still says preliminary. That needs, I just attached the wrong one. That this is the final plat. That we need to make sure that we are approving the final plat. So
Is that the road that runs north and south off of the Peter Springs Road?
it is. Yep. Yep. These lots are just lined up along that Peter Springs Road.
On the average?
They're 1.29 acres each, all of them. So they meet our 1 acre lot size minimum for water and for well and septic system. So
Do you know if they intend to have a dry subdivision, or are they going to apply for drilling permits?
their intent is to I guess as they sell, that each lot would apply for their own well out there. So
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve.
Jamie makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Sylvia. Now further discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Next one is number 15, Scott, Coronado Park.
yeah, so the Coronado Park amendment, this was one that we approved an amendment to this subdivision. Let's see, back last year, June of last year. And then they came back to the Planning Commission in September and applied for a planned unit development which is in our ordinance. The Planning Commission approves those, but this plat basically is the mechanism to actually create the planned unit development. So what this shows is that they're dedicating common area as part of tract I-1. They're dedicating 2.5. So this is in Spanish Valley. Sorry, let me give you a little background. It's in Spanish Valley. And this development's primarily planned to be a workforce housing development. So they're dedicating 2.5 acres in common area. Our ordinance allows them an increase in density. So we've given them a 10% increase in density because they're dedicating open space, and the Planning Commission basically approved, and the approval for that is given to the Planning Commission in our ordinance. So they approved these smaller lot sizes, which they don't meet our 1/4 acre lot sizes, but again, it's because they're dedicating larger open space and clustering these homes and on the smaller lots. So this is basically coming to you because in order for them to do that, they have to have this plat, and it requires your signature. So that's why this one is coming before you.
So what we're approving is inside. It's not the outside.
Yeah, the outside was already done. That
Okay.
was approved in June. It's really just these ones that are highlighted in the middle and
Right.
that common area where there's a boundary that's identified there that's all been put into this PUD, and this is what is amended to do that. So
is this track C or track 1?
this is tract C. It's tract I,
Oh, A.
and it kind of gets confusing because tract C was the original tract
Oh, okay.
that they amended, and then tract I was identified in the amendment.
So we've approved track C.
Yeah, this is
We just
amendment.
need to approve
This tract
amended track 1.
tract I. Yeah.
Or
Tract
I.
I. Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the amended track I, Coronado Park?
Motion to approve track.
Okay, we have a motion by Jamie,
And I'll second.
second by Sylvia. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Is that it, Scott?
I think that's all. That's all.
I just want to say we have the best
I didn't think you could do that with this.
planning and zoning administrator in the state of Utah,
According to you only.
according to me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for the good work.
Thank you
Thanks,
for
folks, for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to number
best,
16,
the
Grant.
best.
We have the best public health
Pressure's on,
director.
right? I'm definitely cheering for the other directors. Heartfelt thanks also to those that provide public comment earlier. I appreciate just the broad community support. As a department, our whole staff is so reliant on our partnerships. That includes within the county, for example, aging services. We partner actively with them, and so many others. So here are a few examples today. So here, similar to what Mac was talking about, previous to this increase in funding that's been proposed, but even including the increase in state funding, we are 90% funded by outside contracts, generally state and federal contracts. And so here we have a few examples. All of these should be federal contracts. The first one on the agenda for me is this maternal child health contract. And so here, this has it's considered a block grant, and it has a few focus areas that I have listed here. One is breastfeeding promotion, for example, peer support. Another is promoting developmental health program. This is helping us check to see that children are progressing in their development mentally and physically. That's called the Ages and Stages questionnaire. Commissioner Harvey is actually probably more familiar than I am about that. And another is addressing postpartum depression, which is thanks to a lot of increased effort and better understood now, and we have more resources for that. And along with that is workforce development. We actually have some peer counselors hired, tried to have those recruited from different parts of our county, and also one to focus on those workplace partnerships. So this is supervised by our nursing director, and this is just continuation of our efforts here. So that's what was framed here as $24,000 for this next fiscal year, and which is effectively the calendar year for this grant. And this is fully federally reimbursed. As we implement these programs, these activities, we submit those reports to the state, which acts as a pass-through, and then we get those reimbursed fully. So no requirements for the county to match or anything here. So, and this has enough flexibility where we're able to really tailor this, like Mac was saying, to local needs. And thanks to our really engaged staff members, we're able to do that quite well. And we're also, with this increased state funding, I'll mention real quick, have proposed that a slice of that be used for what's called our community health needs assessment. It's a required activity of the health department, but oftentimes we have to figure out how to pay for that. And this would be this local funding and the state funding is where we've carved out a slice of that to make sure we understand our community well. What are the needs so that we can fulfill our duty to protect and promote the health of all of San Juan County. And like I said, we can't do it alone. So any questions about this particular contract? And I've, of course, attached the full version of it.
Do we have a motion to approve the maternal and child health amendment number 7? Motion by Jamie,
And I'll second.
second by Sylvia. Now, further discussion or questions? Okay.
Questions?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Let's go on to number 17, the Building Resilient Communities Grant.
Thanks so much. I also appreciate Mayor Lepinen being here during the. This is functioning a little bit like a pilot project. Some unique funding here. We actually definitely had an opportunity to turn this one down, where we were like, do we have capacity to do this? Do we have an opportunity? And so, trying to build on existing efforts around addressing food insecurity, which is a substantial issue here. Mac, I appreciate Mac's attention to this issue as well. We were able to partner with the town of Bluff to really boost their capacity, as Mayor Lepinen was saying, to shift from having already a decent number of people for a small community, around 80 or so a month, then up as it built through various capacity building efforts, including ours, around 300 in November and 400 in December. The line around the block, wow, right? They had to figure out how to manage the people. And so it's not just number here, but we're also there's an increase in the quality of services provided. So the person running the food bank there, as the mayor was talking about, Ginny Burns, she's actually a retired nurse and retired certified diabetes educator. Someone who I actually worked with years ago when I was at the state diabetes program. And something unique that she brings to the table is not just that nutritional expertise, but also her ability to understand a local culture. So she's partnered with local community members to adapt. Okay, we have this food coming in. She is actually brave enough to say, no, we will not accept these types of foods that are not nutritional for our community's needs. But then take what she can take, the rest, and say, oh, okay, how can we adapt this to be locally palatable? And so efforts to develop a local cookbook, things like that, have been very impressive, and we're actually getting both state and federal attention because of the unique efforts here. So this is a continuation. Like I said, it's functioned as kind of a pilot project, but now things are moving along, and so we have a continuation of this funding for one more year.
Do we have a motion to approve the County Building Resilient Inclusive Communities Amendment number 2? Motion by Jamie,
And I'll second it.
second by Sylvia. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Let's move on to number 18. Grant, that's yours again.
Sure thing. Thanks. So the next two are infectious disease related, TB and then HIV, starting here with TB or tuberculosis. This is a prevention and control effort here. This is one of those where federal funds also reimbursed, as I've talked about before, no need for a match, but it is not a substantial amount in and of itself. So we have to figure out how to pool these where they're all somewhat similar, infectious diseases, tuberculosis, HIV, and a number of others, and figure out how to collaborate across these, since each one, slice by slice, is not a lot. Here, $1,200 for the next fiscal year. And you can see the description here. There actually is quite a bit that needs to be done with a small amount of money. Tuberculosis, if you didn't know, is actually one of the most infectious diseases in the world, spread by through the air. We talk about COVID-19 being something that's more infectious than the common cold and the flu. Tuberculosis is actually even more so than COVID or flu, and also has the risk of becoming a chronic disease. So another reason to put it in the category of HIV. The good thing with TB, if someone does get exposed to it, if we catch it early, there is treatment, and that can just become what's called a latent infection and not become full-blown TB disease. And that's a need for, again, that partnership with the community, with healthcare providers. And so our role there is to really make those connections, identify gaps, and then when there is a case, what we do is called case investigation, contact tracing, things that most people are now familiar with because of COVID-19, but it's been in place for a long time because of TB. And efforts to identify what type of infection it is. There are some concerns about strains of TB that are not, they're resistant to treatment. And so that's where we're always reaching out to experts across the state or in the region if those things come up. So we had a slight decline during the pandemic in terms of concerns about TB. Sometimes we get a positive test and we have to investigate to see whether it's a false positive. Those went down during the pandemic, but we already this year we're seeing a rise in those. It also could be because Blue Mountain Hospital is actually increasing the quality of their testing. We were really excited to hear about that. Just that with more testing, as we understand now with the COVID, we could have maybe more of those false positives, but for each one we treat them as a concern and we investigate it, and that's where this funding goes. So yeah, TB is one of those that it's complicated, but also with the right expertise, again, through partnership, through trainings, we're able to address that. I'll give one shout out in this regard to Dr. Ed Redd, who's retired medical director for Bear River Health Department, Cache County and the northern part of Utah. He has provided some training to our medical director, Dr. Nielsen, on this topic, on his own time via phone, and he even came down here for in-person training. In part because one, he really respects our community here, and also he's dealt with TB and knows how complicated it can be, and he wants us to be ready for it. So yeah, that's my overview there.
Okay, thank you, Grant. Do we have a motion to approve the county's TB Prevention and Control Amendment number 5?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Jamie and a second by Sylvia. Further discussion? Seeing none?
Well,
Oh,
I
wait a
just want to
minute.
make a comment with all
You
the
faked me
programs
out
you
again.
have here. I'm sorry. As a former educator and, and having worked with families and children, it's so important, nutrition, and it's so important they're healthy. Children that, I can tell when a child, because I work with children for so long, I can tell when they're lacking vitamins.
Yeah.
They trip, they're whiny. If you have a whiny child around you, give them vitamins, give them
Some
food.
right.
Anyway, and so we so grateful for all you do. And I know Grant, I worked 22 years
Right.
with grants, and then it's easy, they come, you write it, but then you have to report, you have to keep
Yes.
track, and so every grant is more work. in a
Yes.
way too, so, but we appreciate it, you do that.
Yes, yeah, for small grants, right, so we still have to report almost
Yeah.
as much as a larger grant, and so
Yeah.
we have to, so that's where the local and state funding can really help us not have as high of a admin, what we call administrative percent or rate, and that's been rather high, where we, actually, our federal funders have said, they've actually threatened us at times and say, if it's not addressed, we may lose some of this funding. So that's where I voice that appreciation for both the state and the county's investment in public health, so that we can have that local contribution and have this type of funding do what it's supposed to do, and not supplement our health department itself. So
Okay, we'll vote on the motion for TB prevention. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 19, Grant, you getting tired yet?
oh no, I'm just
Okay.
getting started now.
All right.
Let's see. Pardon me though, while I scroll to my next page here. Sorry,
It's up on there as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, just there we go. Get my eyes adjusted to that. Thank you, Mac.
So there you go. I'll make it big.
There we go. So some overlap here. I won't spend as much time since there's a little bit more broader understanding of HIV and AIDS. This here does list as counseling, testing, case investigation, infection control. Like I said, somewhat similar to TB. The piece here that we do less of is the testing, something we strive to do as a public health department, as an entity of the county, predominantly taxpayer funded, right, is to not duplicate services. So in terms of HIV testing, that's available through UNHS, through San Juan Health. And so we have not identified that as a role that we should play as a health department, for example. But in terms of helping with counseling, case investigation, infection control, that's something we can partner with them and play a definite, strong and supporting role with that. And so you can see, it looks like, I apologize. I had tried to submit a updated version of the staff report. I have one other update. You notice this is a very small amount, $250. I had actually looked into this with our state liaison, and the person said, this is actually going to be supplemented with another $750 in a few months to carry us through the rest of the year. So this is like a quarter of it to help with the first quarter of the year. The person said they anticipate the rest of a $750 for the next 3 quarters of the year. So my apologies for not getting the right version of this submitted. Again, that's one of those oral promises that we expect that to come. But for now, this is what we have to get us started in the year. And it is a lower amount across the whole year. 1,000 would be lower than we've had in the past. But again, maximizing this in partnership with UNHS, San Juan Health. So yeah, any questions you have about this?
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the HIV prevention agreement?
Motion with correction on the current chair signature line, I think.
Oh yes, thank you for catching that.
Okay,
Most of mine have been updated. This is one that does need to be corrected there. So thank you for noting that.
okay, thank you. And second?
I'll second.
Okay, do you have a comment?
No, I was just gonna make the same comment about the signature in the bottom.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll get that going.
No further discussion. We'll vote on this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Okay.
Oh, thank you, Anne Marie.
Okay, and Grant, even though he makes a mistake once in a while, he's still the best. Best health director in the state.
Amazing team and amazing board. Appreciate having Commissioner Harvey
Thanks.
on our board now too. So
Thanks,
so much.
Grant. Okay. Mac, I guess you're on the hot seat now on number 9 or 20.
Yes, on here we have a memorandum of agreement. This agreement is between San Juan County and Brittany Ivins, our county attorney. She, in multiple capacities here in the past, we've had county attorneys also helping out cities, and this is one of those instances here where Brittany has been selected put her resume in and has been selected for the Monticello City Prosecutor as well. This is something that she does outside of county operations, but with this agreement, this allows her to still utilize the county space that she occupies now. Kind of also allows her to utilize office supplies, web-based subscriptions that are paid by the county. In here, she agrees to pay the county $100 a month. This kind of helps in Utah Code 11-57-102, and you've heard about this in your training last commission, is that potential de minimis claims where county employees, you can't use taxpayers' supplies and products like that in your own benefit. Well, in an effort to avoid that, she's willing to pay $100 a month for papers and online access to the programs, as well as rental of our office space. So typically, as we've caught employees in the past, printing booklets of items, or we have to then get into kind of a disciplinary action. Brittany's like up front, it's like, I need this, help me out, and I'll pay rent to do so. And so the county benefits from this, but then we also help her in that role.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the memorandum and agreement with the city prosecutor?
Oh, I motion that we approve it.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 against. Number 21, Sam Long.
Hello.
Hey, Sam.
So, I'm new at this, so bear with me. We have one of the properties that the county owns is the old Blanding Clinic that is attached to the Four Corners Regional
by the-
Healthcare Center.
Okay. yeah.
Yes. Yep. USU Blanding leases the space from us for their health professionals program. The HVAC equipment on that building is in need of replacement. USU has proposed that if we manage the project, then they will cover the cost of the funding. So there no cost to the county other than my time to manage the project. I've solicited bids from several companies throughout the state and the Four Corners area, able to get a response from one company being Red Mechanical in Blanding. Their cost for the project would be $68,827. I've been in communication with Christian Olson and Donna Blake with USU, and they have approved the project to go forward on their end.
So you're just seeking county approval for this then, Sam?
Yes, the contract would be between Red Mechanical and the county.
Yeah.
And then USU would reimburse us upon completion of the project.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll motion.
Motion by Jamie, second by Sylvia.
Yeah.
Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed.
Looks like a good deal.
Yeah.
Well, he's on the verge of being the best facility maintenance director in the
How
state
about
of
we
Utah.
vote right now and say that he is?
All right. Well, thank you.
Perfect. He is good.
Thank you.
Number 22, Mac, we're back to you.
All right, let's get down here.
Start with the appointments.
Number
section of
22, yes. So here we go. Typically, I would have these on the consent agenda items. It's really where they belong. You'll see that across the board throughout the state. But I wanted to bring these on through a different approach this time, just so that you're aware of kind of what we do in total. So similar to the state, how the counties are a subdivision of the state, these special service districts and other entities or subdivisions of the counties, and it's your role as county legislative body to appoint to those boards. And a lot of it, if you think about, this first one here that we're looking at is the Wilson Arch Special Service District. If Wilson Arch doesn't perform their designated role as a subdivision of the county, and if they don't pay their bills and operate the system appropriately, then the county could be on the hook for that. It would fall, if the board dissolves, it goes right back to the county to operate. And so it's important that we look at these and we look at the appointments and coordinate with these boards. So kind of in my role is I coordinate a lot with these boards to make sure that they're operational, that they're maintaining the appropriate systems, that they're applying for grants and expanding appropriately in their systems, that they're making the local increases so that they can continue to operate and make sure that our systems are operational. So at the end of the day, they're not dissolving the board and all of a sudden turning it back to the county, having depleted a system and run it down. And so we rely on them. With the appointments, though, we really rely on the boards themselves to vet the individuals. And that's why we have them on the consent agenda item, is the board already makes the recommendations to us, and the boards at the local level have done the interviewing. They've vetted the local area individuals that have applied for these positions. So when I advertise for a vacancy and those vacancies come into me, I immediately turn around and give those vacancies back to the special service districts. They do the interviewing. As a board, they make a recommendation back to the county of who they want to select. We've had a really hard time in the past getting volunteers for our boards. And so that's kind of always been an issue. I mean, right now, you're only seeing about half of our boards this time, and I'll bring the other boards back to you that are missing, like our library board, health district board, our health district board, even San Juan Council. We have a difficulty trying to find people, one that can qualify with the unique boards, but more importantly, just people willing to volunteer. And so a lot of times our boards, they do receive some compensation for attending meetings. Planning Commission is one of those. But when you look at these special service district, those volunteers, they don't get money to be volunteers. And oftentimes they're picked on if they increase water rates on the users. They're picked on heavily, and really it's all voluntary. And so we rely on the boards themselves as a bodies to make the appropriate selections and forward them to us. Now, oftentimes there will be controversy in the members, but I'm hoping that in the future we could rely more on the boards themselves, because that's really where the vetting and everything should take place for the majority of these boards. And so this first one that you see is the consideration. Let me get to my item 21. Consideration and approval of the reappointments of Eric Lichtfield, Craig Simpson to the Wilson Arch Special Service District Board. I've waited in a lot of these boards, if there are incumbents that want to reapply for another 4-year term, I've weighted those heavily, told the boards to as well. Unless we know if there's a problem with that individual, then and I would highlight that with you so that you're aware of it. But for the most part, if we can get them to re-up again for another 4 years, we're gracious for that, because like I say, some of these boards, and this Wilson Arch Special Service District is one of those boards, they still have volunteer capacity that individuals aren't filling the role. We have enough to make a quorum, but there's still not enough to have it vetted properly through an established board of more than just 3. And so with the Wilson Arch Special Service District, this is a longer tenured board of the county. If you think of Wilson Arch, we all know Wilson Arch is we're heading up to Salt Lake. It's on the right-hand side. There's a community that's on the right-hand and left-hand side of that, of homes. Well, this Special Service District oversees the water and sewer of that area. We've only had formal official approval of the east side. They're going through the Special Service District, and they've had grant money to upgrade the west side, and they want to connect both east and west side together. The developer also wants them to connect that, and so they've been working furiously to make sure they have the appropriate pressure and, you know, meeting fire code and meeting the well capacity as well as pump capacity. So these individuals manage all of that. They're looking at a potential rate increase with the citizens there in that community, just so that they can make ends meet. But they're doing a good job. The east side probably more so than the west. The west side is going through improvements. There's a potential of a buyer coming into this area who's looking at potential for commercial as well as residential. So we're hopeful, but first they've got to get the water figured out before the buyers will come in. But so we've been working that. So that's pretty much those two individuals reappointing to
We have
this
a
board.
motion to approve the reappointment of the Wilson Arts, these two members of the Wilson Arts Special Service District.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sylvia, second by Jamie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's three in favor, no opposed. Okay, number 23, Matt.
Next one is consideration and approval of the reappointments of Alan Berry, Paul Sondrager, Steve Simpson, and the new appointment of Stephen Williams to the San Juan County Health District Service Board for an additional 4-year terms. So those reappointments they've been on, and we're super appreciative of their efforts. They've been on this board for some time now. By the bylaws, they've allowed for up to 20 years that they can be on this board. And these individuals, when you talk about ownership in a system, these individuals that we're reappointing own it, and we're appreciative
They become
of
the
them
baby,
because
don't they? And
they have, yes, and we will need to work on with them as we consider the ambulance services, pushing back to them. They're a part of that this discussion. But Stephen Williams is new. He reached out to us, submitted a letter of interest. The Health District Board went through and interviewed him. He also came to the Health District Board, kind of seeing what they were all about and some of the discussions that they had. So they are also recommending him as well, and that completes their entire board with no vacancies going forward.
Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jamie,
I
second by Sylvia. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 against. Number 24, Mac.
Okay, item 24 is consideration and approval of the appointments of Ryan Brasson and Levi Blom to the San Juan Spanish Valley Special Service District to 4-year terms. This one here, in Spanish Valley, we do have this special service district. They just finished the construction project, all of the infrastructure, water and sewer within the allotted area was completed last year. They're still working on some of the warranty items, and as we continue to see some of the flooding come down and settling of systems, you know, they continue to operate and work within that system. Super impressed with just kind of the overall management of this system, where it's fairly new, and we're trying to convince the public there to get off the well systems and join us on the special service district, make the appropriate connections, especially when you think of the water issues there, and still a lot of septic systems on the homes, and we're trying to get them to convert over to sewer system. This is an actual sewer system that we participate with Grand and Moab on as well. And so as we try to shift our purposes there in Spanish Valley, they are super instrumental in anticipating the growth and the water there. We still have a lot of water shares, a lot of water availability that's still there in Spanish Valley, but yet we still want to be conservative in nature. We participate with Spanish Valley in all of those efforts. A lot of the joint meetings that take place right now regarding water with Grand County and Moab City, we have an individual from their board attending those meetings with me, so that they're fully aware and can kind of speak to any concerns that Spanish Valley Special Service District has, which has kind of been a good partnership as we continue kind of to hear on another sense, more on the environmental perspective. There's no water. There's no water available in this valley. Well, no, we have water. Not only do we just have the shares that's allocated, but we also have the monitoring of the wells so that we know drawdown on our wells, or if there's no drawdown at all, which is important because if there's no drawdown, then those users that are pulling out of the water, there's no effect on that. And so we do monitor. The Special Service District receives monthly reports from a consultant that we pay that monitors these wells for us. So not only the water quality, but also the well drawdown. And so super instrumental. These two individuals that they are recommending are new to this body. In the bylaws that we have that we're also looking at now, it's important to note that we're really encouraging those individuals that are on this board to actually be users. In order to make an appropriate decision on increasing water rates, if you're not an actual user of the system, then you can't make that decision. Yeah. And so they monitor that really well, but we need to adjust the bylaws to make sure that that's an actual no. It's not fair that you're trying to make decisions on all the rest of the water users, yet you're not a user yourself. And so we've got to pay particular attention to that. But they've been able to adequately make their bills, which is good. They've been also paying back the county. The county, we entered a participation agreement and loaned them some money to just get over the hurdle, get over the hump. They've been making that reimbursement, have made that reimbursement back to the county. So we've been made whole on that. SITLA also participated in this project, and the Special Service District Foundation. They helped pay for the infrastructure. They will also continue to pay. They make monthly pay or annual payments to the Special Service District when we twist their arm and remind them that they owe us this. But the staff there have been really good. The operating manager, Lloyd, he's the operating manager there, Lloyd Wilson. He's also on our planning commission. He has been instrumental in helping us kind of get this up and going to a full-fledged Special Service District, and now they're off and running. They collect impact fees, and so it's super important, as these new developments come on and he watches these, he's like, oh, okay, here's an impact fee that now I can charge and collect so that they can look at that future capital improvement to the water system to expand it. And so a lot of potential, a lot of assistance. You'll see them more so in the future as we look at the development that's coming in Spanish Valley. They are instrumental in that.
Can I ask a question? How many more members are there?
That are missing on here?
Are this the total members of that group?
I think 5.
Spanish Valley.
5.
Spanish Valley.
Yeah, 5.
We're appointing 2 today.
Okay, so 3 are there.
3 will be.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Will be there.
They stagger those positions. Okay, do we have a motion to appoint Ryan and Levi to the Spanish Valley Special Service District?
I'll motion.
Motion by Jamie,
I'll second.
second by Sylvia. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye also, that's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Okay, we go to the La Salle Recreation District, Mac.
Okay, yes, this one here, we had some retirements. Maxine Dieter, hats off to Maxine and Carrie, her whole family. The Dieter family there in La Salle have been so instrumental in community. They continue to help out on various boards throughout the county and in various opportunities. They have been instrumental in running the recreation center there in La Salle. And this recreation center kind of sits in the middle of the La Salle area. It's not really a town, but it's the hub, along the highway there. And it's adjacent to the school. And so this recreation building has a board that manages that recreation building and all things recreation there. The school district also utilizes our building in like PE, recess in the wintertime, things like that, they go into the rec center so they can stay warm in this building. So this recreation district, they pay the bills, maintenance, and everything on this building. We also give them recreation funds every year to continue to manage the rec programs there in LaSalle. With the retirement of those individuals, we need to reappoint or appoint these two. So we're appointing Crystal Johnson and Maria Robertson to the LaSalle Rec District for 4 years, 4-year terms on there. We're excited to have volunteers. And if you've ever been to LaSalle, you know it's a small little community. So we're excited to get some volunteers willing to do it.
Do you have a motion to appoint Crystal and Mariah to the LaSalle Recreation District?
Motion.
Okay. Sylvia, I'll take your motion and Jamie a second.
Second.
Further discussion?
I
Seen?
got a comment.
Okay, please.
So did we answer them about their payment question?
I didn't hear that question. Sorry,
Answer them
Jamie.
about the payment question.
Oh, so on this letter, yes. So, and you probably experienced this, Jamie, with the county as we send out recreation funds every year. One of the requirements is that the chapters and the cities and the special service districts that receive those recreation funds is they send back a commitment letter on there. They didn't send a commitment letter. I did this at the end of the year. So she has that. She signed it. We've reached out to the city, or the school district for their check, and then the school district issues the checks. That recreation fund, just so you're aware, is a part of the royalty. So it's similar to PILT. It's the royalty funds from extraction that go to the state, and the state divvies that up. Trust fund gets some of that, as well as this recreation program. So the recreation program is we set it up with the school district and the towns and cities in San Juan County for a portion of that to go towards every year an allocation that goes out to the chapters in the cities and towns. And then the remaining of those funds, and it's around 200,000 a year that we get, and we allocate roughly around 100,000 of that out. The residual amount continues in a savings account to collect interest and set there in anticipation that if these royalty fund payments ever go away, then we have a self-sustainable account that will continue to fund. And it's not a lot, $2,000 a lot is not a lot for, a rec center. You take that across Moab or not Moab, but Planning in Monticello, it's not a lot of money. It doesn't go very far, but it's something. And so that's kind of what she's referring to in here. We also in this center have in a closet our library. So the LaSalle library is also in this little kind of closet alcove. Doesn't give us a lot of room, but we do operate in there, and we do pay them an annual lease to be there. So we kind of help support this rec center in this community.
Okay. So all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Number 26, Mac.
Okay, this one here, consideration and approval of the reappointment of Marks Powell and Amr Tume to the Bluff Waterworks Board to 4-year terms. Bluff Waterworks, the county, before the town incorporated, the county managed all of the boards there, and this Bluff Waterworks is one that we continue to oversee in that area. And this does everything from similar to your Spanish Valley Water and your Eastland, as well as Wilson Arch. We operate the water system. They have a water manager there that does the same thing, pulls the reports, checks quality, sends in the monitoring reports to the Division of Drinking Water. These two individuals have been on our board for several years now, and would like to reappoint those individuals to that.
Do we have a motion to reappoint Marks and Omer?
Motion.
Motion by Jamie,
I'll second.
second by Sylvia. Any further discussion?
Just a comment.
Okay.
It's good to see harmonious as reported by the group there. So
Yeah.
if that could be shared with all of our boards throughout the county, that would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye also. That's 3 in favor, 0 opposed. All right, Mac, number 27.
Okay, 27, kind of the final one. Consideration and approval of the appointment of Nancy Kimmerly to the San Juan County Historic Preservation Committee to a 4-year term. This one, the Historic Committee, if they've always had individuals that they could fill these roles. They've never had a hard time filling
Finding somebody.
people that want to participate and donate time and efforts to maintaining, collecting the history of San Juan County. Every year we appropriate funds to this committee. I think in our budget we have this year $5,000. And what they do is they preserve the record. And so as we go through and we look for, one of the things that I have asked for them to do is, try to find all of the images of previous commissioners, and let's get a wall here that we can designate to all of those former commissioners of the county. So pay recognition to those former commissioners and future commissioners. Yeah, and so these individuals will do that historical research, and hopefully we can find the pictures from the families or whatever, so that we have that collection. We have photos, historical photos that they maintain and continue, and part of the payments that we allocate to is a software program that maintains that archive, and they also work with USU to maintain the archive. And it's not just the 2 cities and town; it's the whole entire county. They maintain that. Any historical record, in my office, you see. We've got this catalog or this book of historic photos of just places. What did it look like long ago? One, the black and white images of this wash, Cottonwood Wash. And then they have a newer picture of Cottonwood Wash, and you can kind of see that change throughout time. And so they are part of that. And so they do a lot of good jobs. And it's unfortunate that we had the resignation of Tony. Tony has written several books for the county on the history of the Native American population here, as well on up. Yes. And so when he resigned, Tony had sent this email to me. He says, "Hey, I'd really recommend Nancy Kimmerly to take my spot as chair and continue these efforts." And so
I can make a comment. My second life is as doing history on the History Center, and I very familiar with Nancy. She's working on a project that I've been helping is she's trying to, they're writing a book about the first settlers of Grayson, who built what and where they built homes and how they got there, and it's very, very exciting, and I think she'll do a wonderful job.
yeah, yep, I do too.
Okay, would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we vote Nancy Kimberly.
Okay, do you want to make a second?
I'll second that motion.
Further discussion? Good recommendation. All in favor, say aye.
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 3, aye also. 3 in favor and 0 opposed. Okay, I wanted to just state that we want to thank Lloyd for all of his help and service in the Spanish Valley sewer and water projects and everything he does down there. He's a volunteer fireman. I think he volunteers for everything that happens there.
Yeah, he does. He
we
is
don't-
the right hand.
We don't see Lloyd at this meeting very often, so we want to thank you, Lloyd, for all you've done. Okay, do we have a need for executive session?
We do. I don't know if you want to do commissioner comments before that. So then as soon as you come out of executive session, you can adjourn.
Yeah,
That's usually easier.
do you guys have anything specific you want to report? I'm not going to report anything.
Well, I basically,
Go to
we've
the,
been going up
Yeah.
to Salt Lake every Tuesday, and coming home every Friday, and
yep,
learning a lot.
Yep.
Lots of acronyms, lots of names, lots of interesting things, so.
okay. Jamie?
No comment.
It's the best way to stay out of trouble. Huh? Okay, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Jamie, second by Sylvia. All in favor say aye.
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 I also. So we are now in executive session and the public is invited to step out.
Yep, correct. I will step out
Thanks.
as well. Let me end everything here. We'll turn it over to Anne Marie. Need to stop the recordings.
Leave the microphones on.
No, shut.
No.
Microphones, everything.
Even here
Yep.
and out in the lobby.
Yep.
Chambers.
Yep.
Everything off?
I have Facebook in my ear. It's done.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Sweet.
Nope, I can still see Mac actually on Facebook. Can't hear anything, but
It's off.
negative.
Trey said you'd close it down.
Yeah, well,
Still showing live.
it's still showing live, so we need to.
If you, I'll just kill the whole system.
Yeah, you can just shut